So funny, every time I tell people from America I'm from Canada, especially on stage, immediately, how's it going, Harry?
You want a war? Or do you want to just give me a war?
There's a new NBA champion, and it's a team from Toronto, Canada. Oh!
This is the Prosciutto Masala Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 of Prosciutto Masala. I'm very excited today because I got a good buddy of mine and fellow business owner, Gerry B. Jerry's probably been a friend of mine for probably 8 years or so now. We've known each other for a
Almost a
while.
decade.
Yeah,
Almost a
crazy, man.
decade.
My Aquarius brother. And
That's right.
yeah, we previously ran kind of a web design and online marketing business together. When I left the newspaper, we were doing a bunch of stuff. Currently, Gerry runs a successful online reputation management company called RepHaven and is an expert in online marketing, SEO, and crypto. So thank you, Gerry, for being here, man. I appreciate it. I'm excited that we could set this up.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate your time. And to be honest, I've been on very, very few podcasts, so I'm probably even more excited than you. That's for sure.
Yeah, this is a small, I just started this and you know what? I'm trying to grow. It's kind of
Mhm.
fun. And I just like talking. The main thing of the podcast for me, I don't know if you know why I called it Prosciutto Masala, is because I
Mhm.
have a buddy, an Indian buddy I went to high school with, and we
Yes.
started together. He kind of stepped back because he's got a kid now. So he's not as available to do recordings and all that. But he's
Mhm.
like, dude, he's like, you're Italian, I'm Indian. So let's call it Prosciutto Masala.
That's perfect. That's
Perfect, right?
perfect.
And it's
That's
just
perfect.
about like interviewing other Canadians and trying to keep it as Canadian content as possible because there's so much like American stuff out there, which is great, but it's nice to
Yes.
kind of focus on Canadian centric stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's genius.
So
I like the
yeah,
name.
tell everybody a bit about, I guess, your lineage, Jer, as like career wise, like you kind of, I know you were in
Oh
the
wow.
newspaper business before too, and then you kind of went off on
Oh
your
wow.
own and kind of where you are now.
Okay, okay. Actually, that's a good question. Okay. So let's start off by so my career. I guess my career life, which was 9 to 5, started off in sales. So I did sales for some large companies. I did sales for RBC. I worked in a
Okay.
call center. Worked in a call center, and I worked there for I don't know about 6 or 7 years. So I would just work on the phones, and I would speak to many clients, trying to sell or and upsell them on borrowing products like GICs and credit cards, etc., and just speak
Okay.
about their banking needs. I also worked for the city newspaper, which was in Mississauga, the Mississauga News. I also did sales for them. I moved on. I did a stint for Oracle. I worked for Oracle as well,
Oh, cool. Okay. That's
large
a software
database.
company, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
software
yeah.
database company. Yeah, I worked for
Hmm.
them. It was under a year. I didn't work for them for very long. I didn't really enjoy my tenure there, but I did sales for them. I also did sales for Modus. It was they're listed on the stock exchange. It was IT recruitment. I was basically an IT recruiter. Now,
Hmm.
I didn't work in those companies in that exact order that I mentioned,
Hmm.
but the majority of my career life was in sales. But my hobby was always computers, always. Since I was a young kid, I'll mention some computers you probably have never heard about. My first computer was a VIC 20. I had what's called an Apple II Plus.
Okay.
I migrated over to what was it? Amiga. This computer called an Amiga. I think it was Amiga
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
1000. And then I built my own PC. So I've always grew up with computers from a very early age. My interest then organically moved towards web development because when the internet popped up on the scene, the internet, it was the information highway. People were always, you would do searches online for various topics. And me being very inquisitive, I do searches for all kinds of various topics. But I was always interested and curious as to how websites were created. So it was my hobby, in the evenings, like typically after I would work.
Hmm.
my job, I'd come home and on my computer, I would actually try to, build build websites. I know back in the day when I was working for Mississauga News, after working my shift, before going home, I'd go to this store called Chapters.
Hmm.
Chapters had the latest books on web development, so I'd basically just sit there in Chapters and go through the various books and take key pieces of information like in web development books and write them out. And then when I'd go home, I'd implement and practice them. For instance,
That's awesome.
how to use, yeah, like how to use FTP, file transfer protocol. So how to
Hmm.
basically take what you've created in HTML, let's say, piece of code on your computer, and how to now transfer that up to a hosting server. Like I would learn how to do that. So I would teach myself. I used to say from University of Chapters. That's basically how
Hmm.
I taught myself web design. After learning how to create websites, then I was curious as to why certain websites rank higher on searches, and all the websites that I would create for myself, they would never rank, so I would never see them in a Google search. Sorry, back then I wasn't using Google. Back in the day, Alta Vista,
As Jeeves,
Yahoo,
you remember
those
As Jeeves?
Absi, yes, that was very hot as well. So these
Yeah.
search engines used to be paramount. They used to be the number one search engines. Okay, Alta Vista was my favorite. Oh yeah, and Metacrawler. Now
Hmm.
Google, I remember when Google's name was out there, we used to, my friends and I used to joke about that. Like we would never use Google. We thought the name was stupid, and we never
Interesting.
used that search engine. But
Hmm.
that's what got me interested and curious about SEO. I didn't know the term back then. I don't even know if the term was existent back then, but that's how I started to learn about search engine optimization, because it was my goal to now have the websites I create, have them get and gain traffic. That was like the main, that was my main goal. I was never
Hmm.
like a great, web developer. I would just do it as a hobby. But trying to get traffic and get eyeballs on the websites
Hmm.
were my was like my goal at the time. So that's when I taught myself SEO. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I was also, I won't give out my name, but I was a very active contributor to Black Hat World. So Black Hat World is basically a very, very extensive forum of all kinds of, let's say, digital marketers and SEO professionals, or just hobbyists, okay, who would
Hmm.
go there to discuss how to, all kinds of things. You'd have white hat SEO, black hat SEO. You'd have lead generation, all kinds of it. And some of the tactics there would be, they wouldn't follow, Google's procedures today. Like they were black hat. Okay, so
Hmm.
but I was an active contributor to Black Hat World for a very long time, and so I picked up a lot of knowledge just learning from other contributors there. Yeah, so that's basically the lineage of how I started.
That's like, I wonder if I was thinking back to it. I wonder if we were at the Mississauga News the same time. I think you were probably there a bit before me because I was in
You always there
advertising
before.
sales there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny how we came full circle, right? And then we,
That's
kind
right.
of it's especially in Mississauga. You grew up a kind of Mississauga. You live, not too far away. It's sick
That's
when
right.
how small a world is.
That's right.
Now,
That's right.
next question I have for you regarding but you mentioned black hat and white hat. I think that's very interesting because for me, I know a little bit about it, but what in your opinion, is there one that's better to use techniques than the other, or there is a time and place for white hat, there's a time and place for black hat? I think it's an interesting topic because it's kind of like, I think a lot of people don't know much
Okay.
about that.
Okay. So this is very interesting. Um, Black hat is okay. So the term, the definition, okay, in my opinion, is basically black hat is cheating. Okay, so it's cheating your
It's like a
way.
shortcut kind of.
It
Yeah.
is a shortcut, and it is basically using whatever methods, okay, to get your website ranked, okay, for a search query. in a search on a search engine. So despite like regardless of what search engine it is,
Hmm.
so you must ask yourself like, what do you mean? Like, what techniques are there? Okay, there's a lot of techniques. For instance, a popular technique would be, let's say, doing what's called a 301 redirect. It means taking in one domain that ranks high with super high domain authority and then redirecting that entire domain to a new domain, which may be the website that you want to rank highly. And then
Hmm.
in that case, you want to pick up a 301 domain or use a 301 domain that has a related, like you, that has a related topic. That's just one technique.
So, for example, say you wanted to, like, say I'm the crazy example, like the Toronto Raptors. So, say raptors.com is like the Toronto Raptors official website. Maybe you buy the domain raptors.ca or .io or
No, that
something and
would
then
be
kind
what's
of
called
redirect. No?
that we call that cyber squatting. That's if you purchase a related domain that's actually trying to rank high for that
Oh,
keyword term.
okay.
Okay, it means like that. Okay, let's say you wanted to rank a website for basketball. Okay, so for the keyword term, I don't know, Toronto Raptors.
Hmm.
So what you would want to do if you'd want to rank for that, that's a very popular keyword search. Obviously, there's a lot of
Hmm.
people who would a lot of sports fans who would search for Raptors. So in that case, what I would do is I would look for expired domains that are basketball related. Okay,
Hmm.
so there are various websites that you can use to look for these terms or these websites. And what you do is you pick up an expired, because not everybody renews their domain. Sometimes they'll let them
And sorry,
expire.
why expired versus just a new one? Because it already has authority in it? Is that why?
Okay, exactly. Because what
Hmm.
happens is if it's an older website that already existed, so let's say there was another basketball site that someone ran from 1997
Ah,
to
smart.
2000 to 2020 and decided to
Hmm.
just let it go. So that
Smart.
website was completely dedicated to, let's say, basketball or
Hmm.
sports, basketball, sports, etc.
Hmm.
So what I would do is pick up that domain because there is already a backlink profile. There's a history to that domain. So
Interesting.
if we were to go look at the backlinks for that domain, they're already existent. There's going to be a whole bunch of them that are already there. And because of that, there's going to be some domain authority to that actual domain. So what I would
Hmm.
do is pick it up because it's expired, because obviously if it
Hmm.
was owned by somebody you couldn't pick it up, you'd have to make an offer to them.
Hmm.
So I would pick up that domain, and how would I check if those backlinks are legit or are they or if they are related? The way I would do that is I would first go to archive. It's basically it's way back time machine. So you can go back. You can look at the history of a website by using, I believe it's archive.org.
Okay.
Type in that domain, that expired domain, and then now I can look at its history and I could see screenshots of that website. Now that if I find out that looking through the past that it was always basketball related and it wasn't spammy, okay, it was legitimate, then I would look at its domain authority. I would test that out and see what that would be, and if it looked all legit to me, then I would purchase the domain. The domain would cost nothing, like $10. I would build a basketball website, but that's very, I would say, very raw. Like it just has a homepage, about, services page, and contact page, and a privacy.
Okay.
That's it. Have that index, so it's very simple. And then after it's indexed, then I would do what's called the 301 redirect. I would
Hmm.
now redirect that to the actual website that I want to rank. So I'm not going to
Gotcha.
use that expired. I'm not going to use that expired domain. I'm just going to use that expired domain for domain authority or just power. Now,
Interesting.
that is just one example, one of hundreds of examples of a black hat system. Okay,
Interesting.
to rank your website, you can use many. But what I would do, and just before this leaves my mind, I don't want to forget,
Hmm.
when you're trying to rank your uh, your business or just rank a website for a new keyword term, what you want to basically do is have a white hat website and a black hat website. And what I mean by white hat website is one that's legitimate, that you're not going to mess around and do, you're not going to use all these shady techniques to rank. What you will do is you will have that main website, okay, and you would treat that you would treat that properly. Okay, you treat it or like organically. You wouldn't do any like black hat tests with it, like anything
Mm-hmm.
that's shady. A black hat websites, those are testing grounds. Okay, so you purchase like maybe one, two, or three different domains, and you'll use various techniques to try and rank that website. So with black hat websites, they're always testing websites. You're always using them to test.
Hmm.
And that is basically how you end up finding what technique works best. You could read a technique, for instance, let's say from Black Hat World, etc. There's thousands and thousands of posters. It doesn't mean that the technique that you're reading will actually work for your niche. So you have to do the testing yourself. So in
Interesting.
order to
So every
be,
niche might be
yes.
a little bit different then.
Oh yeah, it's always different. Some
Interesting.
keywords in Google are extremely difficult, and believe it or not, there's some keywords that are monitored by human eyes. They're not all, I would say, it's not all algorithmic.
Algorithm, gotcha.
Yeah, there are like for instance, if you were trying to rank for something that's pharmaceutical or insurance
Something
or
that's like a
finance.
multi-million-dollar industry, right?
Oh, huge, bigger,
Yeah.
billions.
Yeah.
So Google will obviously have eyeballs on specific, terms. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's a diverse topic. But with black hat SEO, you want to always be testing. You should always be testing domains, testing different techniques, and that's how you come up with a strategy that's very sound. So yeah, that's
Interesting. And
basically
white
what it
hat
is.
would be like, what's an example then of like white hat? Just kind of following the guidelines from Google, like getting reviews.
Yeah,
Like for my site and stuff, for example, like I know I try to always get positive reviews or get backlinks
okay.
or right.
No, that's correct. So that is all correct. So when you do your white hat, your website, okay, whatever's paying making your bread and butter, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you want to treat that website by following all the terms of service. That's basically what it is. So
Okay.
whatever Google's terms of service is, you want to always follow that and not break those rules.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to do a social media. So if you have a website, get your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's hundreds of social media websites, but you basically want to do some social media, have those social signals, okay, for your brand, okay,
Okay.
have them mentioned, have those links, okay, that forward to your website. Aside from that, you may want to add video, you may want to also add podcasts like what we're doing now. Okay, that also helps. And you want to make sure that your website is on various directories. Of course, it has to be on Google My Business, which is Google Maps, Google Business. You want to always be there. Reviews help. So you have to hit all those markers. And if you hit all those markers in the right way, Google will just give you give you preference, okay, and
Mm.
they'll start ranking your website. Um, the best strategy, okay, this is the best strategy, and I always tell people this: if you want to rank your website, you first have to know who your top competitors are. So you have to do a search, and whoever those top competitors are, you want to look and spy on those websites and just basically see what they have done. So you want to look at their meta title, meta description, look at their website, the format, how fast that website loads. You want to Does that website have videos, and how are they doing in social media? You want to do what they're doing, just do it better, and make
Interesting.
sure that all your content is original. So always be aware of your competition. That's the first thing. So if you want to
Now
rank
is
for your own
qu-
business, that's what you
question
should
for you, is black hat, I imagine it's probably like as technology changes and Google grows, is the black hat techniques that are used, for example, change a bit? Because I imagine like
do.
Google's
Yeah,
probably always learning things, so you
yeah,
got to be maybe a technique that might work
yeah.
a couple years ago may not work
Oh
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, it's always changing. So there is like it's we call this okay. Google has an algorithm. Okay, so they have an algorithm to how they rank websites, and they read millions of different signals. Okay, so basically, what Google has is called a bot, okay, or bots, and they're spiders. So they crawl the internet and they look at your website by reading its source code. So if you look at your
Hmm.
website and use a browser, you could look at its source code, and when you see that code, that is when you read that code, you see all that gibberish. It's going to
Hmm.
have different tags, like an H1 tag, H2 tag. There's different there's different scripts on your website. That is what Google reads. Okay, so what you're doing is you're just trying to make sure, okay, that your website is clean, it's readable, and that all those signals are perfect, or as perfect as can be for Google's algorithm. That
Hmm.
algorithm is always changing. They always update it. You could do a search right now for Google algorithm update, and they are always changing. They even have what's called a rolling update, meaning that their update is continuously happening, like on a daily basis. It's always changing.
Hmm.
Now, it's always been our belief that, like, this is for an SEO specialist, it's always our belief that Google does this intentionally because it helps their business model. Because remember, Google makes money from advertising. They want all businesses paying using AdWords, pay per click.
Hmm.
They want everybody using it. Why wouldn't they? Because that's how they make money. So it only makes sense, business sense, to change their, or like just change their algorithm so that you have fluctuations. Because if you start rewarding websites, that have just come up the ranks, or other websites, it's good for them. But for businesses that have dropped and reduce, they have reduced because reduced views means reduced conversions, and if they're making
Hmm.
less money, they will be more likely to spend more money on Google AdWords.
Hmm.
So changing their algorithm is, I believe, is part of their business model because it helps them sustain and grow revenue.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
Now, for in regards to, I want to learn a little bit more about Black Hat because I find it so interesting. Like, I
Hmm.
guess, is there certain techniques I imagine that have to be careful because you can get,
Hmm.
I guess, if you're testing, you can get penalized, I imagine, by
Hmm.
Google.
Yes, right. So Google's algorithm will pick up those techniques. So one technique for that's a black hat technique is article spinning. So articles are very difficult because you have to have they have to be written by somebody. Okay, now a black hat technique in the past that was very popular is that you would take one article, a general article that would be scraped from the internet, like from the World Wide
Okay.
Web, on any topic, and then it
Hmm.
would be spun. So we call these. So one black hat tool would be called an article spinner. So they would take an article, they would spin it, and then you'd end up with 50 articles. I'm just spitting out a number. You'd
Like when
end
you
up
say
with
spin
50.
it, you mean like write something negative about a brand or
It's re
something?
no spinning mean it's rewritten. The article has been rewritten using a
Oh,
like a
interesting. Okay.
like yeah, a software script. But what happens is the article turns into gibberish. It doesn't even sound like it doesn't even
Gotcha.
read. It doesn't even read well. Like it reads like
Because it's probably
garbage.
done by like a robot, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the black hat technique. So this is a technique where, one web developer, webmaster would use an article spinner in order to just come up with content because they don't have the resources to have all these articles created. So they may get an article spinner. So Google,
Interesting.
obviously being sophisticated, they would know if your article, if your the article that you have posted is gibberish, if it's just garbage, and then they
Interesting.
would penalize you for that because they know that you're using an article spinner. So that is
Interesting.
one tool, okay, article spinner. Another tool would be, was popular back in the day, are black hat, backlink uh, creators. They just create backlinks. So there was one popular. Actually, I believe they're still going strong, but was one
Hmm.
company or software called GSA. There was oh gosh, you know what? I can't remember all the names,
It was
but these are
basically like
these are
a robot
backlink
that created
creators.
these fake. backlinks.
Yeah, they create backlinks. Now they create backlinks from from garbage, from
Low authority websites.
from garbage domains. Yeah, and most of
Gotcha.
those, the vast majority of those domains are not even indexed in Google. So
Hmm.
that is another tool that obviously Google penalizes you for. When Google
Interesting.
finds out that you have all these, thousands and thousands of backlinks that are created, every day or every month, they know that it's not organic. So if you start using these tools, you'll get penalized. You'll eventually
Gotcha.
get penalized, and then Google will just derank your website. And the problem with that is recovering your website
It's
from
probably
from
harder, right?
yeah, from my experience, is very
Hmm.
difficult, and it's very frustrating because you're gonna put all your hope, okay, into one domain,
Hmm.
and you're just wasting time. It makes more sense to create more domains.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, talk about what I want to ask you too a little bit about Rep Haven, and kind of rep management and how that works. I remember a situation. I think it's when we were working together
Hmm.
with I'm not going to say his full name, but Mr. Peter there, the crazy man. And
Okay.
I
I
remember
know.
Taylor and we
Hmm.
went to see a client
Hmm.
that needed reputation help, right? And I
Yes.
remember I think Taylor did a search and he ran like a report to show their online presence and all that stuff. And it was I
Hmm.
forget the business exactly, but it was a business that dealt in like shipping, I think, and receiving, and their ranking was really low. And they're like, "Oh, we want to be their competition." So Taylor did a report, and it came out that on this report that there was all this. I think it was like a black hat method, but there was all these links to like pedophile websites and the owner's name. And Taylor brought that up because yeah, there's like dozens and dozens of links linking your
Yeah.
name and your website to like a pedophilia website, and it was interesting because we're like, oh, who would do this to you? And we looked at the guy in the meeting, and he was kind of like, he didn't seem like he was shocked. It's almost like he knew who it was. So it's interesting to me. So talk a bit about Rep Haven and how you would handle a situation like that, and kind of how you, I
Okay.
guess, like suppress a
So
bad reputation.
there is something called, this touches on another aspect of SEO. There's also what's called negative SEO. Okay, so negative SEO or anti SEO, that term's not used so much, but it's negative SEO. It's basically hurting an enemy. So if you have a competing website, this happens in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of niches. So you'd have a niche, let's say plumbing. I'm just throwing one out there. Okay, so let's say it's
Mm-hmm.
plumbing, and then it's plumbing. You have your location, right? Because it could be, Toronto, it could be Cleveland, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
LA, like, and then there's all these various states. Sorry, various towns, like it breaks down into so many areas. But let's say in a specific area with a specific niche, you have bad blood. So you'll have one guy who wants to take another website down because they are unable to overtake them with their SEO. So
Oh, so
maybe they've
they're playing
hired,
dirty, kind of.
yeah, they want to play dirty
Mm.
because the techniques that they're using, whether it be white hat, black hat, or if they hired an SEO company, an SEO firm, an agency to do their work, it's just not good enough. It's not working. They
Gotcha.
can't overtake and beat them, and they don't want to overspend them on AdWords, etc. They resort to negative SEO. Sometimes this happens, and it gets worse their mark catches on, because now they attack each other. So basically, they're destroying each other's website. So what happens is they would order, okay, let's say negative SEO packages done by various SEO people, or etc. They do it themselves, and then again, they would do what you just mentioned here. That they would get, let's say, like porn or really nasty links. They would link their name or involve their name because they're in the hope Google's algorithm.
Oh, I lost you there, Jerry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Could you hear me?
Oh, there you are. So I lost you for half a second, but you're okay now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this happens all the time. Somebody would actually attack you personally or attack your website by getting nasty backlinks or nasty pages linked to you, and they're in the hope that a couple things: either one is Google's algorithm picks it up and de-ranks your website, and secondly, maybe they want to attack your name so that if somebody's searching for your name, they'll see that it's affiliated with garbage and thus hurt your reputation. This
Mm-hmm.
happens. It happens more than you think because, well,
Mm-hmm.
I run an ORM, an online reputation management business now online. All my clients speak of this. They either want the majority of them want to clean up their reputation,
Mm-hmm.
and this either happens because someone is hurting them intentionally online,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they actually made some mistakes in the past and they have some bad, publications,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are out there. Very common. This is very common.
It's interesting. Now, I imagine too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I imagine that it's probably very difficult if somebody's going to do these techniques. It's probably not very legal, but it's probably very hard to find out who has done this negative rep on your business. Am I
Oh,
right?
absolutely. And this is
Yeah.
all subject to the person that is doing the nasty work. So for instance, if,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not trying to teach anybody how to do this, but I'm just saying that if somebody wanted to post negative information about you, they're free to do it. They could do it all they
Mm-hmm.
want. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
From the luxury of their home or library or whatever, they can do that online. Now, there are laws. You don't dox people. You're not allowed to like put somebody's, use their images or put their banking information, their personal information, their
Mm-hmm.
phone number and their address, where they are,
Yeah.
etc. But anybody can do that online, right? They can do
Mm-hmm.
that. And the difficult part is finding them, because when you post to a website, yes, you're posting from an IP, but there are services, VPNs, VPS, you can change your IP. Like it's just it's crazy. Like anybody can post negative things about you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so this war, it will continue. It's never going to stop. You can't stop this. The only thing that you can do is you can prevent it by staying clean, by
Mm-hmm.
staying clean, and also protecting your own reputation online, which is basically making sure that you have, your positive information online, and
Mm-hmm.
keeping it ranked highly. That way, when people do a search for your business or your
Doesn't hurt you
person,
as much, right? If somebody wants to
yeah,
try to
because
defame your name, yeah.
yeah, because the truth is, the statistics, I don't know what it is today. It used to be about, I think, 95% of searches all go to the top three positions of an organic search, like those organic positions, the top three.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, like let's say your negative information was on page 2 or 3 or 4, nobody's going to read it, nobody's going to see
Yeah.
it. Like
Mm-hmm.
nobody's that popular. Like we're not celebrities, right? Unless you're
And
like
people by
Tom.
nature are lazy. They want everything within, the first five or six results, if that.
Exactly.
That's it, right?
Exactly. We call it above the fold. So let's say in the top half of the first page,
Interesting. Okay.
people will do searches, but then the further you look down, and then page 2, 3, 4, nobody cares. Nobody's gonna see it unless you
Yeah.
have like a stalker, somebody who's actually
Interesting.
trying to find something on you,
Mm-hmm.
which you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, or also there's other reasons. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. Usually, HR, human resource, HR departments now. I mean, as far as I know, all companies do
Mm-hmm.
this now. So they will do a search for you, a Google search. This is where it
Interesting.
hurts people. Yeah, and
Yeah.
HR department will probably look at the first 5 pages.
Yeah, that because they want to do more due diligence, right, and digging kind of thing, right?
Yes,
What I wanted to
absolutely.
ask you, I don't know if I told you about the situation that happened with me with my business, right? I think I
Uh-huh.
told you a little bit. I know sometimes we talk, and sometimes weeks go by we don't talk as much. But I had a gentleman that I had hired. I don't
Yes.
want to name any names, but
Uh-huh.
I had a contractor. I had worked with him for about probably 2 years, and I worked with him a small
Uh-huh.
project. I tested him out. He was good. I hired him again. He was good. So I kept hiring him. So I built a bit of trust, right? Because you know it is like in my business, it's all about relationships, and there's
Yes.
a ton of bad contractors that even I have to deal with. So I've worked really really hard. You can see, especially in Mississauga, to build my brand. So I want to make sure that I keep that brand high and I get good reviews and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very
Uh-huh.
selective with who I hire, right? So
Uh-huh.
this guy, long story short, I had paid him essentially 80% of the project. It was like this big project that I think he underbid, and he kept coming back to me for more money. He goes, "Oh, Rob, I need more
Uh-huh.
money, and I need more money." So I had paid him. I got to a point where I paid him 80% of the project, but only like 40% was done. So I said to him, I go, buddy, I need to protect myself. I need to protect the customer. I'm happy to pay you the rest, but you're putting me in a very difficult situation here, because then I'm going to look like a schmuck, like a stronzo. If I pay him the full amount he's asking for and
Yes.
he takes off, I'm going to look like an idiot, right? So long story
Yes.
short, he's like, no, I need to be paid now before it's done, blah, blah, blah. And he started to get aggressive. So we had to get the cops involved. It was a big thing. The customer got a bit spooked. He started blasting me online, like basically saying, I'm a piece of crap. I don't pay my contractors, and just copying and pasting the same thing over and over. He looked like a goofball, because I just very nicely, very eloquently, and I think actually you gave me some advice on this. I just very professionally wrote back one response, and that's it. But he kept posting and posting, like copying and pasting the same thing on my personal page, on my
Sure.
business page. And then he
Sure.
was the one thing I was worried about is that he was soliciting other people. And I have a text message where he admitted to this, which was stupid. He goes, I'm going to get other people to write negative reviews too and bring your review down.
Oh
So
boy.
I was
Oh
about to get involved in a legal battle.
boy.
Thankfully, now the guy kind of disappeared. I think it was all just talk, trying to scare me, because he's, well, I'm going to put a lien on your customer property, and then your customer won't be able to sell. And so I was talking to our family friend who's a lawyer, and he goes, listen, let's see what happens. You can sue him. There's a lot of proof here that if you want to sue him for defamation, but you're going to probably spend 10 grand to sue him for defamation. So now that he kind of disappeared and he only left a couple bad reviews, I'm not so worried. But like I said, I'm thankfully that I've worked hard over the last 3, 4, 5 years to get my reputation high, especially my Google reviews, because that's where most of my business comes from. Some from
Mhm.
referrals and some from social media,
Mhm.
but most of it from Google.
Mhm.
So I'm lucky that, like I said, he didn't go further, but I probably would have had to, get something like get your help to suppress those reviews,
Yeah.
because you can get into it. I guess that's the only really way to fight it is like, I mean, this guy was a dummy, but if he was more intelligent, he would have hired a firm to like do a negative SEO on me maybe. And then I would have probably had to spend a lot of money to both an SEO and probably both legally to get my reputation up,
Okay.
right?
I have some advice here. Okay. I have
Tell
some
me.
advice here. Okay, remember this, okay? Just from my observation in life, I would say 1 out of 10 people, okay, that you see that are just walking around, right, are crazy, have mental problems. Okay, so
It's true.
this is the fact that at least 10%. I think the number
Hmm.
is probably a bit higher, but 10% I think is a good number. So 1 out of 10. That means 1 out of 10 people out there are nuts. You can go, and tell those people, and even use the law and say, stop bothering me. But these kind of people, because they're mentally ill, it doesn't mean that they're actually going to stop, and it could even make it worse. So you have to realize, even when you're in business, you're always going to get that crazy, that crazy person, that
Hmm.
that Karen. So we like using that word today, but you're gonna get that
Yeah.
crazy person that's just not gonna like you, or they're not gonna like your service, and you're not gonna understand why. But the reason is they're just crazy. Okay, so what you have to do is you cannot put too much attention or give too much attention to these people, because it's just not going to go away. And the longer
Hmm.
that your business survives, the more of these people or customers or contractors you're going to bump into. It's just part of business. You're always going to have that. And when you look at, like, for instance, reviews, you might have amazing, like I have friends, even yourself, you're going to have all these amazing reviews. You're always once in a while going to get that person who's just going to put that 1 star, or that's just going to say something bad. It happens
Hmm.
to all businesses. There's no such thing as a business that is perfect. You're
Yeah.
never
And
going
you know
to
what I
get that.
realized with those bad reviews too? I used to always want perfect reviews, but having a couple
Yeah.
bad ones actually helps validate the good ones, because sometimes I had people say, "Oh, you have
Yes,
all good reviews. It looks like they're fake."
that's right.
But when you have one or two
That's right.
bad ones, it's like, okay, you know what? This. Most people are reasonable to say,
That's
okay,
right.
you're gonna have, if you go to a restaurant, and it's a great restaurant, amazing restaurant, you always like.
Yeah.
If you look at even their reviews, they're gonna have one or two bad people that are just crazy that leave a stupid review,
Always.
right? Yeah.
Always. That's right. You
Yeah.
can't please everyone. It is impossible. And just always be aware that there are, there are people that are just they're crazy. We have at
Mm-hmm.
least 10% of people out there are crazy. It's not that they're bad, but just people that are just they're mentally like there's a mental illness, and so
Mm-hmm.
you can't
Mm-hmm.
appease. So what I'm trying to say is you cannot appease everyone. It is impossible. It is statistically impossible. So just be
Mm-hmm.
aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you think with this situation here, I should just, now that this guy's kind of seems like he's disappeared, he's kind of
Yeah, let it
realized like
go.
he hasn't put a lien on the property, which is the biggest thing,
Yeah,
because then the customer wouldn't be able to sell her house and we'd have to fight it. So I think
yeah,
what happened was he was all bark and no bite, and he just
yeah,
wanted to scare us into paying.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
it's interesting to me when like what money gets involved, how people change. Like this guy, like again, I'd known him for a couple years. Tried him out on smaller projects. I'm okay, he got it done. That's good. I'll pay him. He got it done. And we built rapport. So the guy knew I paid my bills, but I think what had happened was he underbid the job. And hey, I'm sorry to hear that. It disheartens me. I do it sometimes too, where I quote a customer. I'm like, shit, you know what? This is going to cost me a little bit more than I thought. But you know what? It's part of business. You can't go back to the customer and say, hey, you know what? By the way, we're 2 months into your project. You're gonna have to pay an extra 10 grand because I didn't calculate it properly. You can't do
yeah.
that. That's why
No,
contractors
you
get a
can't.
bad reputation. For me, like it doesn't happen very often anymore, which is good because I've learned how to price projects and all that stuff. And now I've kind of marketed myself as a bit higher end brand. So, I'm not the cheapest contractor out there. I tell people, if you want really cheap, I can't help you. There's lots of guys that do it for cheap that'll do a really bad job. But so if you want it done properly and good, I can do it for you. But I think what happened with this situation, this gentleman, is that he underbid it. He was feeling the pinch because he owed, probably his guys money, his workers, and instead of dealing with it like a gentleman and just trying to be the thing, he went crazy and he started threatening the customer. Like I said, we had to get the police involved. He said he was going to come rip everything down. It was a disaster. So thankfully now, like it's so within, I don't know if you knew this, but it might be the same in Vancouver, but in Toronto and Ontario, you basically have 60 days as a contractor. If either the general contractor doesn't pay you or the homeowner doesn't pay you, and you have done your work, you have 60 days to put a lien on that property. So the 60-day mark passed just the other day. Great. We checked the bank, we checked the lawyers, there's no lien. So it's great. So I think I'm just going to kind of move on, keep doing my
Yeah,
SEO, keep,
you have to forget about him. He's gonna find
yeah,
another victim, and he's gonna do the same thing with
yeah.
somebody else. You just don't want to be memorable in his mind.
Mm-hmm,
So just don't bother with it because you're basically gonna drop off in his mind,
mm-hmm,
in his
yeah,
mental Rolodex. It's just you're
yeah,
gonna fall off, and then that's
yeah.
a good thing because he's
But I think
crazy.
it's good for other business owners to know, because you're very knowledgeable on SEO and on reputation, because a lot of business owners may freak out and be like, hey, you know what?
Hmm.
How do I deal with this? So
Hmm.
um it's important to know that, listen, there's so much in your control, and you try to do the best you can. But if people need, at the end of the show, I'm gonna get you to say your website again, and I'll put it in like the notes, so if
Yeah,
people need reputation
yeah,
help and stuff, they could reach out
it's
to
with
you.
Yeah, it's with any business, and they can do it themselves. They don't have to hire me or hire anybody else. But what they have to do when you go into business, always try to protect, be preemptive, and protect your reputation online. That way, if somebody does say something negative about you or your business or your family, etc., it's not seen. It's being suppressed. So you have to
Hmm.
be preemptive. So in your
Yeah.
business or your person, just make sure that there's positive, good information online, and that is what is seen. Just do it
Hmm.
preemptively. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's good
It's
advice
kind
for
of like,
any business.
I think you told me this analogy once, and it kind of always stuck with me. It's like building a reputation and building your business is kind of like going to the gym. Like if you go once to the gym and you never go for 6 months, you're not going to look be in good shape. But if you go every day, you do a little bit, an hour workout, whatever, go home. And same thing with the business is, if you do a little bit every
Yeah.
day with your reputation or online or whatever marketing,
Mhm.
over the course of like 7, 8 years, you're going to build a strong business, and your online reputation is going to be very strong. And I realize it's so similar to
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, it's very true. You have to be consistent. Yeah, it is like going to the gym or working out. You just have to be consistent.
It's
Just put in
interesting.
put in the work, put in the
It's
time,
interesting.
and you'll
I,
be yeah.
I want to switch gears for a sec, because I want to
Yeah.
get to talking a little bit about crypto and FTX and all that, because
Hmm.
you kind of
Hmm.
I kind of owe a lot to you, because you kind of got me on the radar of crypto early on. And do you remember how you first heard about crypto and you first got involved in kind of Bitcoin and all that stuff, or
Oh,
it kind
that's a
of just
long
you?
story too.
Hmm,
I think it was like 2013 is when I
okay.
first learned about it from a friend who mentioned information about Bitcoin. I got curious about it, but I remember doing Google searches. I did find it was called local Bitcoin. It was a website called Local
Yes, I
Bitcoin
remember that. Yeah, yeah.
where you could purchase Bitcoin. And I remember I purchased some just for fun. I purchased like $70 or $80 worth of Bitcoin just for fun from somebody that I didn't meet. I just basically, I think I e-transferred them some money. And then I learned how to mine. So I picked up an ASIC miner, which I purchased from eBay. And you plug this little USB device into your Chromebook or your computer, and then
Okay.
it would
Hmm.
mine. And I was mining pennies. And I didn't do this with the intention of, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. I just did it for the
You were
purpose
interested
of
in the technology,
uh,
probably.
very curious because I'm a
Yeah.
computer geek. So I just did it for
Hmm.
that reason. That's how I basically got involved. And then 2017, 2016, 2017, the other was a bull run. I created the world's first ICO, which stands for Initial Coin Offering. I developed an app which was just a notification app, so it would notify people on their mobiles of ICOs that are coming down the pipe or that are launching. So that's basically
Hmm.
all that app would do. So I created that in 2016, 2017. Um, yeah, and I did pretty well. I was an early. I hate talking about the story because it actually brings up a
Like
negative
past
feeling
trauma.
here. There's a past drama. I got
Oh, okay.
burned.
Okay.
I used to own a lot of Ethereums. I purchased them very low
Yeah.
price, and I had a friend that got involved in crypto, and basically lent him. I sent him a ton of Ethereums to like trade with, and he was doing
Hmm.
well. He made a stupid move and basically lost all of them. I was traumatized by it, but
Hmm.
okay, moving forward, everything's good now. What I've learned in crypto, okay, and you can look at this from chart analysis. There is a pump. Okay, this is the most important thing about crypto. There is a bull run, a bull cycle, a heavy bull cycle every 4 years. This is algorithmic. Okay, it's called the Bitcoin halving. Okay, so every time there's a Bitcoin halving, it means that miners are only going to earn 50% less. Their mining is going to be cut in half, okay, with the same amount of energy.
Hmm.
This triggers a bull run every single time. The next bull cycle will happen in 2024. There's something also I'll have to mention. Aside from understanding these bull cycles, you have to also understand that if you're using a centralized exchange, you can never fully trust them. So you should never have your crypto on wallets that reside on exchanges because you can lose every single penny. We learned this
Hmm.
from Mount Gox. This was early, I think
Yeah.
2014 or so. We learned this from
Quadriga.
in Canada. Yeah, in Canada we had what was that one in Canada?
Quadriga. Quadriga
Quadriga, yeah,
CX.
we learned
Hmm.
that here. We learned that here just with FTX.
Hmm.
Okay. And it can happen with Binance, even like all of them. So, what does that teach us? It teaches us that you should never keep your currency, okay, your coins on a centralized, that's the word, centralized exchange. Does that mean that crypto is a scam? No. It just
Hmm.
means the way we counter this is through DeFi, decentralized finance, through swapping. If you're Binance, you'll use like Pancake Swap. If you are Ethereum based, which is ERC20, you'll use Uniswap. Basically, these are just two platforms. But
Hmm.
DeFi, there is even a stronger argument for DeFi today than yesterday. Like the argument is even stronger. It's something that's just not going to go away. Decentralized finance is awesome because it
So
allows you
explain
to.
a bit more about DeFi, because I've heard the term, but I actually don't even understand fully. So I know it's a decentralized exchanges, but how would that work?
Okay,
Where?
okay. So a centralized exchange, okay, is basically an exchange where you are storing and trading. You are storing and trading your crypto on their platform. Okay, so when you trade using, let's say, Binance, Binance
Mm-hmm.
is a centralized exchange. You are going to deposit your Bitcoin or purchase your Bitcoin. So that centralized exchange will now talk to your personal bank account, your checking account. You might send them some money, send them $100. With that $100 on their exchange, you are going to use their exchange to purchase Bitcoin or any other altcoin that they're offering. That currency that you're purchasing is going to reside on a wallet on their exchange. It's all
Okay.
centralized. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the risk is, because they could shut down, steal all that money, or lose all of it. Okay. And disappear. And you've lost everything. Now,
Mm-hmm.
decentralized finance is utilizing your own wallet. So the most popular decentralized DeFi wallet that we use today is called MetaMask. Okay, so this will
MetaMask. Okay.
reside on your Chromebook, on your browser, on your mobile device, on your computer, your PC. That is your own wallet. So and it's anonymous. It's pseudo anonymous. I would
Mm-hmm.
say, meaning that it's IP, like you could track the IP or track the address, but it's not linked to your specific name. Okay, to your
Okay.
actual name. Okay, or your actual bank. It doesn't talk to your bank account, your TD, RBC, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
CIBC. It doesn't talk to your bank account, but that wallet resides on your device. That's decentralized. Now, when you want to swap or purchase cryptos, okay, or let's just say swap. So meaning you're taking your Bitcoin and you want to swap it and turn it into BNB, like Binance, Binance Coin or Ethereum, etc. You can now swap using your wallet and using a platform like, let's say, Pancake Swap or Uniswap, which I mentioned earlier. You can now swap and trade those cryptos, and then those cryptos again will reside on your wallet, your personal wallet. So it's not held by a centralized exchange. So
Okay.
that's the basic definition in my words. And if that makes any sense.
Interesting. Interesting. So would it be essentially like automated in the sense that, say, I want to trade somebody or I want to buy $1,000 worth of BTC, I would put like, can you only buy
This is
on
the thing.
just
you, you can, okay, you
Mhm.
can go through one of these centralized wallets. There are links, okay, that they will offer for you to purchase. Okay, so this is an entry. Now you're doing what's called a crypto entry. So at an entry point, you are going to go through some sort of centralized exchange. Okay, but once you
just to get
purchase it,
your fiat converted to crypto, right?
yeah, so in the beginning, yeah,
Gotcha.
when you start with crypto, there's an initial investment and an entry point, okay, for you
Mm-hmm.
to get involved. You can either purchase crypto from someone like a friend or whatever, that's fine, because they may have some already.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go through an exchange, or which is very popular, you can even use an ATM or a service online using your credit card. But you can go through an
Mm-hmm.
ATM, because there are Bitcoin ATMs all over the place, right? You can go to one. You'll pay a higher fee. You might pay 5-10%, but then you'll end up with your crypto. That crypto will then reside. You would have it sent to a wallet, so that would be on your personal wallet. But then when it comes to trading, you don't have to use a centralized exchange, which is one central authority. You can actually
Gotcha.
go ahead and use one of these DeFi platforms. It's just the entry level. When you first enter crypto, you have to actually purchase using your own cash and using one of these
Gotcha.
exchanges.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's
sorry, just
interesting.
had a cough.
Now, that's okay. Yeah, it's I think it's we need more DeFi exchanges because like, talk a bit about now the FTX whole thing. I was kind of so disappointed when that happened. It's like shit, man. It's like it happened with Quadriga, happened with Mount Gox, and it's like holy shit, is
It
this going to keep
happens every
happening? And
time.
like, you know what I mean? Like and I'm curious to get your opinion like how do we stop this? Do we need the government's regulation a bit
Okay.
more so that there's more trust? Like you
No,
tell
no,
me.
crypto, no, crypto's already regulated. It's going to get regulated even more, but it's already regulated. These exchanges are all legitimate. They're regulated by the government.
But
They
apparently
all of them are.
FTX was it would be they there was some loophole. I don't fully understand it, but they were in Bahamas operating, so they weren't privy to the same, I
Well,
guess,
the
due
laws, yeah,
diligence.
Yeah, well, laws are jurisdictional, but I mean, there's still a legitimate exchange. There are going to be loopholes, but in my personal opinion, this problem will never go away forever. As long as
Mm-hmm.
we have centralized exchanges, you can never fully trust them. This is
Mm-hmm.
not going to go away. This is always going to be an issue. The solution is decentralized finance. That is the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Just using other means. But I don't believe for a second that your coins are ever going to be safe on any centralized exchange, any of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
FTX today, tomorrow it's going to be another one. It's going to be
Yeah.
another company. There's always going to be centralized exchange that's going to do a rug pull and take everybody's money. I
Yeah.
always believe that. That's
Yeah.
never going to go away. And even though you put all this government, intervention or regulations, that I don't trust that either, because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
laws are jurisdictional. Okay, so you can have an exchange that's run in Romania or Bahamas or Panama, Hong Kong, like
Mm-hmm.
all different places. I mean, this is the World Wide Web. You can access these exchanges
Yeah.
from anywhere, and if you're not allowed to because of an IP ban, you can just go around it, with a VPS,
Yeah.
VPN, etc. So I don't the way to what am I trying to say?
Just be
I'm
careful.
trying to say
That's the
I'm
best
trying to
way
say that
to make sure you don't
you
get burned, right?
I'm gonna well use centralized exchanges minimally, okay, but if you want to start trading in different cryptos in different altcoins, you're just gonna have to resort to DeFi.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the that's the solution.
Yeah, and if you do use it, I mean, like one of the first rules, my knowledge of crypto is very minimal, and I learn more and more from talking with you every day and reading and learning, right? But one of the number one rules, even if you're a newbie to crypto, is like not your keys, not your crypto. It's like if you're gonna
Yes,
buy
that's
something,
very true. Yeah,
take it off the
that's
exchange
it.
right away, and put it
Yeah.
on your own personal wallet. Because then, if you keep it on their wallet, you're privy to what happens to that company, right? And I've seen it, for example, so many times, and it amazes to
That's
me
right.
that this stuff, people still make this mistake. It's like, I don't know if it's a lot of newbie investors getting involved and they're getting burned or what, but yeah, take it off the exchange right away. That's what I do. Whenever I'm going to buy, I buy literally as soon as the order goes through, I put it to my own personal wallet.
Yeah, that's right. Put on your own personal wallet and just don't leave anything on exchanges. You can't trust them fully. Always remember that you can be burned at any second. And the sad thing is they're centralized. You're supposed to trust them, right? So
It's sad for
right.
sure.
Yeah,
It's
you're supposed
sad.
to trust them, but you can't. They're the ones doing the biggest scam.
Hmm.
It's just so
Hmm.
ironic. They're the ones
Now, do
doing the
you,
most stuff.
what's your opinion on now, like the future of crypto, like in terms of like I'm pretty excited because I think when you first told me about it, it was still early on, and it was like you're still wondering, but now it's been around. I think crypto for
I'm incredibly bullish because we have something coming down the pipe. There's one aspect. There's just one. There's so many things. There's
hmm
NFTs, right? Non
hmm
fungible tokens. Now we have contracts that are in the blockchain. This was all created by Ethereum, now Binance and other chains, Polygon. Like there's all different cryptos that are doing that. But what I'm
hmm
excited about is something called P2E, P2E. It's play to
okay.
earn. So you think about gaming. A lot of people game, but with gaming, you can now make money. You can earn money online instead of just playing a game and walking away with the feeling of I won or my character is doing well or I'm getting a higher score. No, now you have motivation. You have motive to earn money. So now you can actually play a game, make money at that game by earning tokens or NFTs, etc., and swapping those tokens for Bitcoin or a stable coin like a USDT, like a Tether, or a USDC, like a stable coin that's one to one to your dollar. So you can actually earn money from playing games, which is incredible because you think about all the youth like in this world
hmm
that have mobile phones, personal computers at home. They're not working 9 to 5 after school. They're playing games and they play.
hmm
One of the highest PDE earning or adopting nations on earth is the Philippines. There is a crypto called
Interesting.
Axie. There's a crypto called Axie, I remember the
Okay.
market cap was like over 5 billion. I think it went as high as 10 billion, but don't quote me on that. I don't know if 10 billion, but for sure they hit
Yeah,
five
yeah.
billion. And the vast majority of their users, Axie users, were were in the Philippines, and I think also followed by Venezuela, some other nations. And these are lower income nations. Like these nations, they earn less, right? There's
Okay.
greater poverty in these nations, is what I'm trying to say. And the reward was incredible for a lot of these people, because they would play. You'd think, why would it be so popular? Well, it's because they were earning crypto. They were actually earning money from playing games. So this is one very positive aspect with crypto. Just one that is very, very powerful, and how I could see its case use really being implemented and helping lives. Because a lot of people in the
And
Philippines were playing, making money, using that money to feed their family. And even some, I've heard of stories where they even purchased home.
interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think can you see big corporations like say like EA Games and like PlayStation, Nintendo getting involved and stuff like that or
All of them.
Hmm.
All of them are going to offer at some point some sort of a token. They're going to tokenize, and they're gonna earn, because they all think about it. All corporations or all businesses want their customers, using their products and their services. If they start seeing their competitors using crypto, they're just gonna follow. They're just gonna jump on the bandwagon. That's all.
Mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
eventually all of them are gonna have tokenized versions of crypto, or at least utilize them. All of them are
Yeah,
gonna start offering, like accepting forms of crypto to purchase their products. I
the
believe that will
exciting
happen.
thing for
All of
me
them.
is that like you see more and more like the last 5 years or so some big companies getting involved, big names like you got Elon Musk, very big advocate for crypto. You have other guys like Michael Saylor, MicroStrategies, adding that to his balance sheet, and it's becoming more and more mainstream, which is great because it validates kind of what was in the fringe before, and people talked about crypto like 10 years ago. It's like, oh, you're a weirdo. Now it's kind of like, okay, with NFTs and all this stuff happening, like Trump. I don't know if you heard, Trump came up with these NFT playable cards that dude sold out in like 2 hours. He sold like
Yeah, that
five
was
million dollars worth of
that
these
was
NFTs.
yeah, that was quite recent, and I think it was quite genius too, because he's running again. But if he
Mm-hmm.
uses like a stunt like that to make money, to earn money, and then use that money for his campaign, for instance, like, it's genius. Like, it's very
Mm-hmm.
simple. It's such a simple way to earn money, right? Just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tokenize your service, like your product, right? Just make some NFTs, etc., and just have people buy them. This economy just shows you how strong the crypto economy is. There is a strong base, and it's only growing. And youth, okay, people that are younger than us, they embrace it like it's nothing. Like they
Mm-hmm.
like it's nothing. They just tokenizing, like using tokens and using crypto, like, is nothing for them. It's not going to go
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to go away. This is just an evolution of of crypto, and it's never going to go away.
Now,
Even governments are coming out with CDCs. They're trying to develop their own national cryptos. They're trying to tokenize their own currencies. It's happened in China. Now, a lot of countries, you could do a Google search and find out all the countries that are working on CDCs, like trying to create their own crypto. So this is
mm-hmm.
just, where did they get the idea from?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where they get the idea of taking, creating digital currency and having a blockchain ledger. Like, where'd they get the
Mm-hmm.
idea from? They got it from Bitcoin.
So now, do you think with Bitcoin, do you think that they'll always? Because I have my opinions. I'm curious to get your input. Like, Bitcoin will always be the kind of top dog because it's the first and kind of the
Oh,
one of the thing, or do you think you're
yeah.
going to have other ones that are going to come over and kind of take over it?
I know where you're going with this. Yeah, will it always be the reserve currency for crypto?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what? Part of my mind says, yeah, yeah. You know what? It probably will be. It probably will always be. I believe that, and whether it is or not doesn't really matter. What really matters is that crypto will always there'll always
Exist.
be a form of decentralized finance, and something
Mm-hmm.
that a parallel of currency that is parallel to what we have now. Like there's always
Mm-hmm.
going to be an alternative because not everybody trusts, like the banking system the way it is now because with inflation, and then you see how everyone's dollar is being weakened just because of you know of
Inflation and overprinting of
yeah,
money, right?
inflation, but this is over borrowing, right? Because then when you have
Mm-hmm.
like governments that borrow too much from their central banks, I mean they're basically money printing. um, because of money printing, they're devaluing their currencies. So inflation
Mm-hmm.
is not gonna stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
continue forever. Like it's just never gonna stop. The only alternative to it, there's a couple alternatives. You have bullion, which is gold and silver, but who's gonna carry gold and silver in their pocket, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
crypto makes the most sense. The only unfortunate thing with crypto is that it suffers such volatile swings. When it drops super hard. When it goes up super high. So,
Now, do you think that'll ever come to a point, like maybe 5, 10, maybe 20 years down the road, where it kind of levels off and equalizes a lot more? Or do you think it's always going to be volatile?
oh, the volatility. I don't know. I can't speculate on the volatility. I think it's always going to be more volatile than any other market. I think it will
Mm-hmm.
continue that way. But what will differentiate the winners from the losers is that you just have to understand the major cycles. So when when there's a halving approaching and going on, which is every 4 years, there's a bull cycle, and during that bull cycle, Bitcoin and all these altcoins or shit coins, okay, they're all gonna rally and they're all gonna do well. Now, when we go into a bear cycle and Bitcoin starts dropping, all these altcoins, i.e., shit coins, they're all gonna drop. Okay, so that's the nature. That's the
Mm-hmm.
nature of the market. That's the nature of the market. It's like a whip. So with a whip, you have the handle, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
when you use the whip, the very tip of the whip is very dramatic, right? It's a there's a dramatic movement at the tip of the whip. That's kind of like how the crypto market is, because you have
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin is the handle. So when it moves like 10%, you're gonna have altcoins that are gonna move hundreds, like many X, right? They're gonna move.
Mm-hmm.
They're very exaggerated, and that's why this market is only going to thrive. It's never going to go away because you're always going to have an opportunity. There's always going to be an opportunity to become wealthy, like overnight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I've
that's
read
what's
too.
super attractive.
I forget who it was. It was Michael Saylor talking about this, but essentially it was an article that basically talked about Bitcoin and how the ecosystem, when you look at it compared to other market caps, even like gold, like you were saying, gold I think right now is give or take like I think about $10 trillion market cap versus Bitcoin and crypto is only like 900, 800 billion. So it's really like such a small fraction of the overall market cap of some bigger commodities and assets. But if a lot of
Small,
people are,
but yeah, small, but not too small. I mean, it's like almost
yeah, but
maybe
what I'm
10
saying is that
10%.
there's a lot of people are saying maybe 10 years down the road, it's going to start to stabilize because when you have more maybe regulation, you have more people that are trust crypto and get involved. Even if crypto becomes say half, let's say conservatively, even if it becomes half the market cap of gold, which is
Yeah,
$5 trillion, you're now dealing with a bigger pool of money. So when you have people buying and selling and trading, when you have a much bigger pool, it's like throwing a little pebble into a small little puddle. Yeah, you're going to see the ripples, but if you throw a pebble into the ocean, you're not going to see the ripples as much because it's a bigger pool, right? And people say that's
yeah.
kind of an analogy with crypto. Maybe it might take 5, 10, 15 years, but eventually it'll start to stabilize the price long term.
I think so. I guess
Mhm.
the price would somewhat, I think this price will probably somewhat stabilize. We just have to get a lot greater market cap. So when Bitcoin is around $1 trillion market cap, yeah, I could see absolutely the price will stabilize more. And this, I don't know how far this will be. Maybe it'll be a decade, or so. But yeah, I can see that happening. All I know is not for certain, but I believe for certain, just my own personal thoughts.
Mhm.
Crypto is not a fad that's going to die. No, it's not. it's going to be around. Like
What makes you say that? Just because it's been around now for so long,
because
and
it's
get
because it goes hand in hand with the internet. So it's internet money. So the internet, like if you think crypto is going to die, or tokens, or if you think that's going to die, then you must also think the internet's going to die. But that doesn't make any sense. The crypto's never going to. I mean, the internet's never going to die. Exactly, it's never going to die. Why would the internet never die? The reason the internet will never die is because basically the entire banking system is online, right? So this is how we use commerce, and there's an entire economy on the internet. Why would it die? It runs on electricity. Unless we have a giant meteor that hits the planet, and there's no electricity, then we're not going to have internet. So we're always going to have internet. So people are always going to spend money and use the internet to make purchases, like whether it's Amazon or like AliExpress, etc. There's always going to be commerce, but they're always going to have the option of using crypto, always, because it's perfect. It's perfect money for the internet. It's perfect for online commerce. It's perfect because you're doing transactions with your directly to your wallet. It's
do
perfect.
you,
So I
do
don't
you
see why crypto will ever die.
do you
Impossible.
think it'll get to the
It's
point
even
where
Web 3. Have you heard of Web 3?
no?
Like Web 3, the new, I guess it's a new system of for the internet itself, but it's completely integrated to metaverse and crypto, which is the commerce for Web 3. So that's the integration. I mean, you could research this online, but this is how things are going. It's like
And Web
you're
three,
going to
what
use
is just like integrates payments into websites, kind of thing, or what?
it's going to integrate payment and metaverse all into your surfing experience. So you're going to surf online, you're going to do your searches, you're going to see your social media, etc., and you're going to be making purchases via crypto with wallets that are already attached to your browser, and you're going to have an experience where you're in like a world online. So for instance, it's like playing, how everyone, like, you play first person games like Call of Duty, or you play Call of
Mm-hmm.
Duty, or you play Skyrim, or any of these online experiences.
Yeah.
This is basically what the metaverse will be. So you'll be online shopping, like you'll be looking at a mall, okay, you'll be in a mall looking at products and saying, "Yeah, I want this jacket looks really cool." You're seeing it basically live on your browser. You're saying, "I want to purchase that," and then you go ahead and purchase it. But this is the type of experience that we're going to have, because we're having higher speeds with 5G. There's probably going to be a 6G, 7G, who knows? And data is going to be transmitted so quickly that we're going to have a far better user experience. Resolution, animation, it's all going to work seamless and very fast. This is the future of the internet. This is the
Now,
direction that we're going.
do you think Bitcoin? I know originally, correct me if I'm wrong, was kind of thought as like kind of be able to use for payments back and forth, but because the price is so volatile, a lot of people just like to hold on to it, right? It's like, why am I going to spend $2 on a coffee with Bitcoin today when in a year that could be worth $8, right? So, do you foresee it being used as more of a store of value that people kind of just hold on to, like they've been
Oh
doing,
yeah,
or you
yeah,
think
yeah,
eventually it'll get to a point where it's
yeah.
like,
No,
okay, we're using it for as currency?
no, no, no. I believe, yes, yes. I believe Bitcoin will always be used as a store of value, kind of like gold. And the reason I say that is because it has a finite supply. So there's only going to be
Mm-hmm.
21 million printed, right? Or created, 21 million.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those millions will never be recovered. Already they've been lost because
Mm-hmm.
we have lost the keys, right? Or the passwords to access them.
Yeah.
Or people have died. People who have, I had 1,000 bitcoins, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
person's
Mm-hmm.
dead, right? So you'll never, there's a lot that, so it's even more scarce than the 21 million, far
Mm-hmm.
more scarce. So what I believe is that Bitcoin is basically going to, it's kind of algorithmic. It's going to algorithmically trigger these 4-year bull cycles because of its halving, which is its nature comes from mining.
Mm-hmm.
But other cryptos will always be used for commerce. So whether it be, XRP or Ethereum or any of these other cryptos, they're always going to be used for commerce online. And
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that in the future, there will be a singularity with crypto, meaning that our wallets will be so sophisticated that, let's say you're holding 5 different cryptos in your wallet. um, the blockchains that those currencies are on will work seamlessly. So if you're going to go purchase a product, a t-shirt that's like $25, you'll be able to pay for that you'll be able to pay for that product via your wallet. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what crypto you have, it's going to seamlessly transact, because I think that a lot of these cryptos, they're seamlessly going to have their blockchains talk to each other, and then you're just going to have those purchases made very, very
Mm-hmm.
easily and quickly on your wallet. That's what I personally believe.
Interesting. Do you think now, like you could see in the future, like with the governments and traditional banking getting kind of worried, can you foresee them like creating, like say, like a U.S. government coin or a Canada coin, and then they,
Yes, those are
you know,
CDCs. Yeah, they're working on them right now. Yes, I believe they'll be not. I believe
that'd probably be a
they'll
good
be all
thing for
national.
the industry. Am I wrong?
It's a parallel. It is
Hmm.
a good thing because it gets people used to utilizing crypto. So you're gonna
Uh-huh.
have, like, there's a lot of people who don't use crypto. They're used to using cash.
Hmm.
I don't think governments like that because they can't follow or tax people properly,
Hmm.
appropriately. But there's going to be CDCs. Okay, so yes, there's going to be a Canadian coin, which is basically the Canadian dollar, but it's going to
Yeah,
be a form of
but digital.
CDC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's gonna be digital form. There's gonna be US. There's gonna be all countries that are definitely gonna have those digital currencies. The governments are gonna love it because they know exactly what's being spent, how much is being spent. Therefore, they know how much to tax. But they can also track you. It's not so much that they want to actually
Hmm.
spy on you, no, but they can easily track you, which is good for other reasons, right?
Hmm.
So that will run in parallel to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's never going to be integrated into it's never going to be it's never going to be integrated into like a CDC type of system, because that's all pseudo anonymous. None of these Bitcoin wallets are connected to a personal name. So there will always be a parallel. But the
Hmm.
positive thing is, when you get involved in CDCs, which will probably be forced to, like in the future, maybe a decade from now, you will already understand a crypto system, and then that parallel of Bitcoin will always be there, and it will be seamless. It will be easy to use.
Hmm.
Everybody's
Interesting.
going to be using crypto in the future.
It's interesting. Well, now
Everybody.
it's like, you already have certain governments, like I think it's like Japan that accepts it as kind of like a national currency, and I know parts of Asia, and I think it's good. The fact that it's already survived 10 plus years definitely a good
Oh
sign, right?
yeah, there's countries I think, was it Venezuela? One of couple, one or two South American countries, I believe,
Hmm.
that already said that it's legal tender. I think even Putin. I think in Russia, I think they even accept fuel, like purchases of their gas. I think
Interesting.
or oil. I think they accept crypto. Crypto will eventually be accepted by, like, all countries are going to utilize it or accept it. They'll be basically before they'll have no option. Like they're all going to be they're all going to be using it in the future for sure.
It's fascinating. Two last questions, Jerry. I want to ask. I know it's getting kind of long, but so I appreciate you
It's all
spending the
right.
time. But I wanted your opinion on two things. What do you? I don't know if you've seen that Quadriga doc on that Netflix about the whole scandal. I mean, it's pretty interesting. But I was curious if what you think about that guy, like, because there's a lot of people that think the guy's
Oh,
is still
well, I have
alive
an
and he's
opinion.
hiding
I
somewhere.
didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch it on
you got to
Netflix,
watch it.
but
You'd
yeah,
like it. Yeah.
I do have an opinion. Yeah, I think it's a theft. Because didn't the person go to India? He's not even
Hmm.
Indian, but he went to India and he was doing some work there. But yeah, he just disappeared there and died. I don't know if they
Hmm.
recovered an actual body, but I think he went to India and I think he got a new identity. And I think the greed overtook him, and he
Mm-hmm.
just had access to all this crypto and just decided, oh, I'm going to start a new life. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, and the reason I say that is because I read just from Google searches that the wallets or the wallet that all that crypto was on, there was
Mm-hmm.
movement. There was movement because with the blockchain, this is why I say it's pseudo anonymous. You can watch a wallet and you can watch its activity, whether it's withdrawing, transferring, depositing. You can actually monitor that. Now, if the
Mm-hmm.
person's dead, how is that possible? So that's why I think there's something fishy going on. I think he stole
It's
the money.
definitely sketchy. Yeah, check out the documentary. It was really interesting. Like I kind of finished it. And I'm like, oh, it's you kind of like there's evidence that to support that. Okay, maybe he's alive. There's evidence to support maybe he's dead, but it's definitely sketchy. The sad thing for me is that like we were talking about earlier is that the people that had the money, they're going to be lucky if they get a penny on their dollar. You know what I mean? If they because there's a class action lawsuit now, they're lucky if they're going to get anything for what they had on there.
Yeah,
And it's a lesson that don't keep your stuff on the exchange. It's happened, 3 or 4 times already. So as soon as you
it's
use
a
it,
sad
take it off.
yeah, it's a sad thing because because they lose obviously, but it hurts the entire industry because those people that got burnt, they may reject crypto and never enter again. And if they don't enter again, that hurts market cap. So it just
Mm-hmm.
means less people. It just means less people in the crypto sphere.
Mm-hmm.
What we want is we want everyone using crypto. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because it helps market cap. It grows market
Mm-hmm.
cap. And well, why do we want that? Because it means greater valuation for our crypto. Because the reason you're
Mm-hmm.
involved in crypto is not so that you could buy and sell product, which you can. I do it. I've used it to purchase services all the time. The reason I get involved in crypto is because I wanna get rich.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You want to purchase crypto, hold on to it with the hope that, oh, I hope it, goes to the moon so I can have a lot of money. That's what
Mm-hmm.
everybody's motive is to get involved in crypto. And the only way that's going to happen is if market cap grows. So that's why it hurts so much when you have an FTX, a Mt. Gox, a Quadrica, because people that get burnt, they may never enter. They'll be shy. They're going to be gun
Mm-hmm.
shy. I don't want to pull the trigger. I don't want to get involved in crypto. I got burnt before. I lost how many thousands?
Mm-hmm.
All those it hurts. You want everybody involved because the more people that get involved in crypto, the more money that that we'll make. Right? You're
Mm-hmm.
holding crypto because it only grows with market cap. That's where your
Mm-hmm.
valuation is why it grows. So you need that momentum. You want that tsunami. You want that tsunami of people injecting money in crypto. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And these
Last
centralized
question.
exchanges, they heard it. They heard it completely.
Yeah, it makes sense. Last question I have for you, and we'll call it probably a thing because it's good. I think we got some good content. An hour and a half. It's believe it or not, it's been an hour and a half. It goes by fast. When you're having good
Okay.
conversation, it always flows. But what do you think? Do you ever think we'll ever find out the identity of Satoshi, or he'll ever come forward, or no? He's going to stay anonymous forever.
No, I don't think we will ever know who that is, ever. Um, and the reason I say that, well, okay, so if you look at the blockchain, if you look at why the motive of why Bitcoin was created, it was
Hmm.
created with the intent to counter all the monetary spending and shenanigans that were happening. Because if you
And
look
the
back in
government
2000,
bailouts, right, for the banks.
yes, for the government
Hmm.
bailout. So we know its intent. It was intent is to counter that because the person who created it was obviously frustrated with all these bailouts and all this
Hmm.
nonsense. And we know this because you can research this in Google. There's a screenshot image of it because they mentioned the date of one of these these postings that happened, like I think in
Hmm.
London or something like that. But we know the intent of Bitcoin, right? We know the intent
Hmm.
of why it was created. Um, the person that obviously created this created a system that counters the banking system, the traditional legacy banking system. That person will always want to be kept secret because the banks or the central bank is their enemy. So no, I don't believe Satoshi will ever be full identified. There will be people that will claim they are just because they want
Mm-hmm.
notoriety. There's people who've done that in the past. Oh, I'm Satoshi. They just do that because they want notoriety. But
They
are
want
they
their
actually Satoshi?
15 seconds of fame,
Yeah,
right?
they want everybody to give them, they're just flexing. They want everybody to give them respect. Oh, you're amazing. You're Satoshi. Wow, you invented this. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
you're amazing. You're incredible. But it's not. No, that person
Mm-hmm.
will never. I don't think that person will ever come forward. I don't believe that unless they're really old. and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, like I
they
mean,
don't have.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of motivation. If I'd be scared, and I think probably this obviously whoever Satoshi is obviously not a stupid individual, and they know
No,
that if
that's
they did
no.
come out, that there would be
They'd
a
be
lot of people
arrested.
maybe hunting their heads, right, trying to chop their
They'd be
heads
like
off.
a Julian Assange or something. Like
Yeah,
the bankers would want them. Bankers would
hmm
want them arrested, right? I would
yeah.
think that, and not only just arrested and taken, like they would probably want their wallet. All right.
Because
So
if he
yeah,
it says I believe it's if he or she or Satoshi
he
or
or
they
she, yeah,
whoever, right,
yeah,
if they cashed in their Bitcoin, they would essentially become the richest person in the world.
yeah, yeah. That's
I
true.
think
Yeah,
because they have
possibly.
more than it's like a quarter of all the Bitcoin or something like that.
Yeah, something ridiculous. So
It's
yeah, I
crazy.
don't
So
think their identity will ever come out. No, I don't think
it's
so.
interesting. Well, dude, thank you very much, man, for being a part of the episode. I think there's a lot of good content people are gonna find like really interesting. If people want to hire you for rep management, where can they find you? What's the link?
Yeah, if they want to hire me for any consulting or to talk to me in regards to digital marketing, SEO, or ORM, which is online reputation management, you can contact me at rephaven.com. Just email me, contact me there, and I'm Gerry. So if you email me there, I'll get your email.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the notes too, so people have a link to that. But yeah, man, thank
Sure.
you very much. I'm gonna
Thank you.
produce the podcast, and then I'll share the link with you. So yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Sure. Oh, thanks very
Awesome.
much, Rob. And you have yourself a very good day and a very good and prosperous new year. So to
Thank
you
you, brother.
and
You as well.
your
Hopefully, we can
extended
have
family.
a Michelob together soon. It's been a while since I seen you, so we got to get some Luca
Okay.
pizza and some Michelobs.
Okay, for sure. Okay.
All right,
Take care,
brother.
Rob.
Thanks so much,
Thanks
man.
so
Ciao.
much.
Bye. Bye.
Great job. Bye bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. Please share if you found the info informative. We're definitely trying to grow, so I appreciate everybody that tuned in. We will talk soon, and hopefully be back with another episode very shortly. Thanks, guys. Oh, also, if you want to listen to us on Spotify, you can check us out there. I will send the link in the show notes. So, thanks, guys. See you soon.